when two of them has been working there for 5 years and me, still.
No, because I was sorry, I went yesterday. That's why I was.
But you know,
I only waited like. Oh.
yeah, honestly, I think she just trying to see. Okay, listen, I think what she's trying to do is that she's trying to like keep a track of it and see that مثلا she's looking okay, the pieces of business مثلا Indonesia یا فکر کنم اینطوری بگم مثلا like a fast food of کار یا که گم شده یا که همون کمپانی سرچش نکرده trying to see yeah exactly but I didn't know Nada has two kids like I didn't have a couple, but I think they're like 7.
Good morning, Cosmos. How are you today?
And you know, she works like 6 days a week, 8 to 4.
Good morning.
Excellent. I have a little couple of surprises for you momentarily, so just hang in there. And
And so my assumption was that she probably.
You know, for the first time in my life when I go in a chamber, I was just so tired of shaking it every 2 days. No, that's patient. It's always like that.
okay, so I'm just getting tech set up, and as usual, I will talk to tech like it's a person because tech is an entity in our lives, unlike any other time in history. Okay, tech. So we're going to take this slowly because yesterday, tech, we tested for 4 hours in here, and we got everything set up the way it used to be. So we're going to take this step by step. And in a moment, all of you in the cosmos are going to see the whole global classroom as it normally is. And we're going to have our microphones working properly today and visual. But we just need to make sure that tech had a good sleep and did not have any nightmares. Because if tech had nightmares and tech doesn't want to work, not a lot we can do.
I thought it's gonna start like they said that it's gonna start at 4 a.m. or something. Or maybe 4 p.m. Hi Rizzo, how are you? I'm good. Everything is good. No, I just had gym class. I finished, so I'm just sitting in campus. I'm drinking my coffee. What is that, mango?
So I am gradually going to get myself set up and connected to everything here. But right now we are on this camp because we actually have essentially 4 different views. But we need to get the smart board connected, so that's good. And we need to get this connected. So let's take this one step at a time. There are many, many items on this check that ensure we can get connected. It really is like being inside a jet or a spacecraft in terms of the number of things that have to all connect. And there's all sorts of moving parts. If one thing goes down, it affects something else. And this is called complexity. And if there's one thing I can help all of you with global leadership, it's becoming a master of complexity. We will talk about that, but first, let's get everything properly connected. And the next thing we want to do is we want to get that connected. Yeah, I want to be able to see that, of course. So we have an attachment, a dongle there. We don't need that. We need to connect 3 things right now. 3 things. Okay, so first we connect, that's HDMI. Okay, yeah. Okay. That's going to get us into the system. It has 2 holes, yeah, so that gets us there. Good. Okay, and then the next thing will be that, but we'll see about that. Okay, so this is going to be the big test right now. As I plug this in, will that do what it's supposed to do as it did yesterday? Go on, adjust. Nice, nice. It's this new.
İnşallah. Her birbirine. Zında boşa. Laura, did you see my TV? Yeah, gonna HDMI cord my whole TV with salvage and I can watch. It's so nice, Laura. Like I've been watching TV, like I've been watching different on since like the whole day yesterday. I was like excited to do. But big screen is so nice. Well, at some point you get tired of looking at your laptop close up. Yeah, bro, it's the
Can you hear me clearly? Yes, exactly. So everything is working the way it should right now. Okay.
So I just took it and I was just drinking ice coffee.
Fully set up, and then I'll get the big board fired up. And what am I doing right now? Oh yeah, what decibels. It's got to be that. So that way in this room, it's defaulted to the room. And how's that? Yeah. So if I, for example, did something like this, that would cause issues, but it won't. Okay, so that's good now. And as I speak into this microphone, Cosmos, do I sound nice and close, like almost a podcast or FM radio? I'm talking into a microphone. Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. So here we go. We're going to put these microphones, there are 3 of them. Sorry. Okay, Cosmos. Now you should be able to hear me clearly on my headset. Yes? Good? Excellent. Okay, so we're almost there because the tech is really back to where it should be. Now, let's get our board up going. Get rid of that. We're on HDMI, right? So in theory, then, if we come in here, good. So there we are. And we want to bring in the big board and we want to bring the PC. And so we just needed a little more time to set up today, but that's because the previous professor was here till 10. So, but we've got the connection and you can see there's Waleed and you can see the back of, I think it's Lindsay's head, and there's one other student on the edges. But we'll see who's going to come in today. If not, I will narrate what's actually happening in this room. But first, let's just see how this is working. As I switch, this was all tested yesterday. And then if I come over here, yeah, then I come back. And the audio will not be changing. Good. It's staying on Extron. So the idea will be that as we move the cameras around the room, the audio is going to remain stable. This is a lot more complex than it may look, everybody, but when it's properly working in this room, this is how it should be. And then I can put the final, I have this, so that gets us over to the board. Yeah, and we're going to fire up that board. Okay, so that's really good. So just let me get the board connected. Sorry it's taking a little bit longer, but I had to start a little later because of the previous class. So as I speak and I'm moving around, you should be able to hear me clearly. So Cosmos, just keep telling me yes. Yes, you can hear me clearly? Delane, Elizabeth? Yeah, good. Okay, so I'm just moving around the room, getting set up. I have to connect. There's a cord in the podium. So I'm just talking to Tech at the same time I'm talking to you. Tech is over here, and Tech has this. And we are in what's now called the technium. We are in the technium, which is that we understand how to function in a highly sophisticated technological world. And we'll call it the technium because everything's technium. Okay, so there. That's going to go. Now, is it plugged in? No, it's not. So that has to be done. So we're almost there. And then we're going to be able to blast off. We want the smart board. We have a guest this morning that's going to be joining us at 10:30. And for all of you right now in the Cosmos and in person, let's just do this properly, okay? While I'm getting set up, okay? And then I can do both at the same time. Welcome everyone to Global Leader this morning, Wednesday, February the 18th, our 6th class of the semester. And you are going to see the global classroom at last beginning to function the way it has been, because I spent a lot of time yesterday fixing things in this room. So everything should be working. We're not fully set up yet, but I'm going to start the class and talk to you while I'm getting everything fully set up. We have a guest joining us in 15 minutes. So I want to get ready for her too. So just bear with me. I'm going to talk to all of you while I'm moving around. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the live chat and for the moment, and then I'll guide you in terms of how to use your microphones, okay? So here we go. I'm just going to move around, but you will still hear me. Does anybody have any questions? All of you here, you can just talk to me if you like. I can hear you. And I just need to get this. That needs to be saved. So I'm over at the smartboard right now, folks, and you will see today one of the students here will be doing the notes there, and we'll give that student a microphone, and you can see how this will function. So what we have is we have a, you're going to see the real multimedia power of this room. Good. So we're over here. So let me just be clear, everybody in the Cosmos. Can you see me standing at the smartboard right now? You should be able to, and you should be able to hear me clearly. Good. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Morgan. So I can move around, and what you're seeing is global leadership in education. Nobody anywhere on the planet does this, what we do in this room. Live streaming on YouTube using pretty sophisticated cameras and everything. But now, okay, so the next thing is that's working. I need to get the board going, and I want to get the notes up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and there we go. Okay, we'll bring the notes up there, and we'll do the notes over there. I should be going over to the PC. I can do that a little bit later, but I'm going to be setting up essentially the class while we're having the class. Okay, so can you do me a favor and just shut the doors, and we'll get that going. I'm going to bring down the blinds a little bit, and then we can really start. But as long as we have a good, secure audio connection, this is going to come down, and that ensures we don't get the glare. When we move the camera over to the smartboard, as you will see, we don't want the glare on that shot. Okay, so the blind is coming down right now, and who knows who's going to come over here to do the notes. But as you see the blind coming down, that gets rid of the glare and gets nice clarity. So I'm talking like a television director and a producer now, which is what I used to do a lot of. Directing television programs and documentaries. I had a production company. So you're seeing the production part now. But in order for this to really function, yeah, and I'll leave that as is so the in-person students can see what's happening online. And that's fine for now. Great. Excellent. So I think we are in a position where we can actually begin the class in terms of the real content, and then we will have our guests joining us shortly as well. So everyone in the Cosmos and here today, what we're going to do is we're going to try and understand and explore how Indigenous traditions from the director of the First Peoples Indigenous Center, a young doctoral researcher, Kayla Murphy. It's just terrific. She is going to be sharing with us the research that she did for her doctorate on leadership. As it happens, our young-ish director, the First Peoples Indigenous Center just next door, had done her PhD on leadership. And we've spent a lot of time talking this semester. And I thought that for the first guest of the semester, we would have her come in because she has a lot of really interesting insight to bring in terms of how Indigenous traditions can teach us something about global leadership. Okay, so get ready for that. Now, what I also need to explain in the next few minutes before she joins us at 10:30 is that, as you can see, this room today is working a lot better because of the testing that was done. So essentially, that means that your voices can matter even more. Now, we don't need to be using my phone, going over here like we did last week, although it was good, but it wasn't sophisticated. We have microphones. Now, the way this should work and has in the past, is that whenever the in-person students speak, I just bring the microphone over to them, and they talk into the microphone like it's karaoke, straight into it like this. Then you can be heard really well. Now, it would be good if the students who are sitting around the couches could come onto the couches. And that way, when I move the microphone around, we can pass the microphone around. And it works really well. Okay? So could you come and sit with them? You can sit where you were last week if you want, Lindsay. And it's Darrell. Okay, Darrell, Waleed is here. And Arshad. Arshad. How do you spell that? Oh, Harshal. Yeah, great. Okay, Harshal. Okay, so let me make sure that this is working, because more or less each of you could have a microphone today, but just take this for a second, okay, Darrell? And I'm going to show you how things are going to work in terms of the microphone and everything else. The idea is that if everything works really well in this room, this interaction that we do, that you've been having a sense of now, is really going to work better today, so that everybody feels that in this nucleus, we are really interacting and can be heard. So first, Darrell, do you want to just flip up the little switch to on? Okay. And hold the microphone closely to there. Now, let's just do a little test to make sure Darrell's voice. You don't have to talk that loudly, but how's it going today, Darrell?
Doing okay.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about what's been going on? You know, talk for 10, 15 seconds about how your day has been going so far.
Just a lot of tests coming up.
A lot of tests?
Yeah.
Okay. In the cosmos, did you hear Darrell begin to answer quite clearly on the microphone? Good. Okay. Darrell, take the microphone over to Wally. Okay? We're passing the microphone around, okay? Watch how this works, okay? Waleed, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Way to go. Okay, so now tell me what it's like to hold the microphone in your hand a little bit. Is it kind of intimidating?
No, it feels like I'm standing in front of an audience.
Excellent. And from a global leadership standpoint, shouldn't you be feeling a bit in this class like you are in front of an audience?
Kind of, yeah, because we practically are, and it's going to be a big part of if you want to be a leader.
Got it. Got it. Lovely. Okay, so I'm assuming in the cosmos that everybody could hear Waleed clearly. Yes? Okay. Great. Okay. Keep holding the microphone, all right? Because now I'm freed up. With my microphone, I can move around, and I can sit, and I can bring you in to an interaction. Okay? Remember that the power of this educational experience ultimately is this in-person interaction, and those in the cosmos can be brought in, audio and video, and then those who are watching later asynchronously can also engage. But the energy of this is me helping you, the in-person students, to improve your communication skills. That's a very, very important part of this class. If you look at the essential employability outcomes in the course outline, you will see that a critical part of leadership is communication. Communication that is not mediated by technology. This class is mediated by technology in many ways, but ultimately, if you cannot communicate in person with each other, you can't lead. You're just going to be a follower, online somewhere, and so you have to be able to interact in person. So today, it's going to really be stepped up with that, and you're going to feel that. But if you feel in any way, Darrell, Waleed, Harshil, and Lindsay, intimidated, you don't want to be doing this, it's okay. You don't have to take the microphone. But I encourage you to, because it's going to help your communication skills. Okay, so Waleed, is there anything you want to bring to the class's attention before we pass the mic around a little bit more?
Not to me, but I'm okay.
Okay, great. Do you want to take the microphone to Harshil? Come on in, Kayla, and we're just getting set up, and please come and join us. Go ahead, Harshil.
Thank you for
So how are you doing today?
all good. Like these are going just for completing assignment,
Yes, great, thanks.
doing
Good, good. Just so you see what's on YouTube right now, let me just give this. Oh, that's a little old there, but so you have. I'll refresh this. That was me outside. But come on, check. You can do it. There we go. Okay, it's a little, but there is what we see on YouTube about, I don't know, 5 seconds ago. So just notice as you're speaking that you have on YouTube and the recording all of the cosmos horizontal behind you. Okay, Harshu? So well, you see how that works as well? And I'm going to come back to the video conference for a second, but I just want to make sure everybody is clear on what's happening. But here's the live video conference right now. Okay, do you want to hand the microphone to Lindsay? And let's have a little chat with Lindsay before we get going. Lindsay, how are you doing today? Yeah? Anything that you would like to bring to our attention this morning about anything that you think we should be hearing about? No, you're good? Okay, that's fine. Keep holding the microphone, okay? But when you're not speaking, you can turn it off to save the battery power, and then you know you're also not live at that point. Okay, so let me just take a couple more minutes to walk you through the tech, and then Kayla is going to come, and you can be right here and start joining us, okay? Or you're okay there? Okay, Kayla's waiting in the wings. She's our guest, and she's coming in a moment. I have to put her presentation up as well. So now I just want to deal with the cosmos and make sure. If anybody in the cosmos would like to receive immediately a 5 out of 5 for participation, jump on your microphone and start talking. Is that Kensia?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, it's working and we see you. What I like, Kensia, is you not only unmute your microphone, you unmute your video, which is always why you're going to get a 5 out of 5. Okay? So that's great. Kensia is there. Elizabeth, you're back. Go
I
ahead.
am. Hi.
Oh. Yes, go ahead.
I am just throwing this out there. The whole change in OSAP and the way the government's changed the layering of OSAP has been a big deal for me, but also because I have a son. I have 3 children who want to go to college and university, and that has been definitely something that we've talked about. So I'm just throwing that out there, how if it's affected anybody else and what people's thoughts are. And like I watched an interview yesterday about he was a student president, I think, at the University of Windsor, and he said students were never consulted. And I wondered if it's a political thing or is it an economic thing, and what that does for us in terms of leadership. How do leaders make decisions? So just throwing that out there.
Thanks. No, it's great. It's great that you're back in the class today, Elizabeth. You've been writing some very good things in the posts, and so I just want to be clear, and then I'm going to move on that Kensia and Elizabeth automatically are getting 5 out of 5 as long as they are available through the class on their microphones. Okay, that is critical. Okay, Elizabeth and Kenzie. Jordan, go ahead.
Hey, about what Kenzie said. Honestly, I feel like I had my own thoughts on it when I first saw it.
Yes.
Because it was something new to me. It just popped up on a random day, and I was like, "Oh wait, they're changing OSAP." And as someone who actually depends on OSAP, it was kind of a shock because we weren't really told about the change in the first place. They just kind of made it. But like they said specifically that it was because Ontario itself as a province was not aligned with the rest of the provinces OSAP's like rates, and they wanted to change it because they felt like they were out of line. But I don't feel like it's that because of that reason. I feel like they want to put money towards other things, and they can't do that based on the structure that we have right now.
Yes.
And they used OSAP, the OSAP change as a cover up for it, but that's just my thoughts on it.
Well, we will talk more about these things in terms of the bigger picture in the class today. I just want to make sure Kayla gets this, but I'm doing several things at once, okay, in order to get things set up. But that's what a leader does. I take seriously that what we do in this classroom in terms of what we're creating is leadership in education. So when you see me dealing with things as I am, I'm leading in education in terms of all of these things. And it requires me to balance a lot of things and troubleshoot. So I'm going to be doing that through the class a little bit. But first, I just want to introduce Kayla briefly, and then I'll come and get you set up, okay? But I want you to know there's a really important person who's going to join us today from 10:30 to 11:30, and she is our first guest this semester that we've had. And here's your microphone, by the way, so you can. I'll get to that. That's okay. We're not quite ready for the presentation, okay? Just sort of getting things set up. But that's on, and we can talk and just talk like karaoke into it, okay? When we when we speak, okay? Good. So, Dr. Kayla Murphy, as I mentioned, she is the director of the Indigenous First Peoples Indigenous Center, officially director of Indigenous initiatives on the campus. And she and I have had many conversations, and I decided this semester that for the first guest, I would pick somebody very, very local, like next door local, because I wanted to demonstrate to you that that idea of local thinking, global and local, is really important. It starts locally, it goes globally. So I just wanted you to get comfortable here. I'll get you set up with your presentation in a moment. And then you're going to give a little presentation, and then we're going to talk. Is there anything you want to say to the students at all before I just get a few more things established, and then we'll come right back to you?
I guess you introduced me right at the beginning. So, to reiterate, hi, everybody. My name is Kayla Murphy. I am the Director of Indigenous Initiatives at Durham College here, and I am very appreciative of Lon inviting me into his classroom and to all of you.
Great. Yep. And the camera, you can, that's the camera back there today, the little black one.
Okay.
Okay. And then what we'll be doing as well is sometimes I'm going to be moving the camera over there to the smartboard for the
Okay.
notes. Okay. And I'll help with that in a moment. And the students all have their microphones. We've got people in the Cosmos. And then there are many other students who'll be watching the recording later.
Okay.
So there's something like 54, 55 students enrolled in this class. And usually we get a few in person, more in the Cosmos, and then more way out there watching later. The Cosmos is the online group, live online. Okay, right now. So, you know, sort of, it all works, it all comes together. So let me just think if there's anything else before I get Kayla's presentation set up. I think in terms of the notes today, I'd like to get one of you to do the notes, and you'll get your 5 out of 5. Lindsay, Harshil, would you be ready to do notes, or Darrell? I will do the notes. Okay, since we have a small group today, you can stay here. I'll go over and do the notes and handle that while Kayla's giving her presentation. And let me just make sure all the other tech is working. Everything is looking pretty good. So then the final thing is, I'm going to get Kayla's presentation set up very quickly. And while I'm doing that, um, why don't you give a little explanation to the students about your background as a doctoral researcher and a little bit of sort of broad idea of the leadership focus that you had in your doctoral research, okay? And then we'll be ready for that. Go ahead.
Okay. So to introduce myself, so Kayla Ndijnakas, Bekedron Ndunjaba, Michigan and Dodom. So I am an Anishinaabe Kwa, so an Ojibwe woman from Bekedron territory. I come from the Turtle Clan as well, so naturally an educator. um, so a little bit about myself is I grew up on Bekedron, as well as as a lifelong learner. So education was always my passion, and with that, it kind of ultimately led me to Indigenous education as well. So one blending in that lived experience into scholarly and research as well as within the academy. And so implementing Indigenous leadership as well as with an emphasis of two-eyed seeing, which we will touch on a bit about in this presentation. And you believe that
Almost,
Lon is
almost there. Yeah.
just about set up.
And do you want to give the students just a little bit of a sense of, and I don't want to take anything away from the
Okay.
presentation yet, that's coming, why you would think that Indigenous traditions would be so relevant today in understanding global leadership and helping to be a better global leader?
Well, I think blending of the two worldviews, so an Indigenous worldview and a Western approach, right? It helps strengthen one another to create better solutions to issues going on in the world right now. It also offers a different perspective from our own. So we're weaving in those two lenses and perspectives to create a stronger solution. And we will also touch on that as well as components of Indigenous leadership in this presentation, as
Great.
well as human-centered leadership combined with two-eyed seeing.
I like that, the human-centered part.
Yes.
Yeah, the human-centered. I'm going to make sure I write that down. Now, finally, because I've got a few things going here, I want to load up her PowerPoint. This is a new computer I'm using today, and it's actually slower than the last one. So I'm trying to load this. Oh, here it comes. And it's, I think, a little bit slow. But is it this one or this one?
Whatever the PowerPoint is.
Yeah, okay. So let me try opening it this way and see if it goes a little faster. If not, then I might have you just work with this first. And while I'm getting this,
That's okay.
get started with Office. Okay, skip only to.
And in terms of the research itself, you can actually find my dissertation in practice. So if you type in Western University, where I did my Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership, feel free to pull that up on the search, and you can download.
Excellent. Here we go.
Oh.
So I'm just going to get this teed up here. And it's just everything with this computer, which is a replacement, but it's actually still is is not as good. But okay, at least I can switch. You can do the slides, but every time there's a switch of the slide, yeah, it's a little slow. Okay, so here we go, and I'm going to bring back our because I can put this up here. I can lay this over so we can still see everybody, or at least see the live chat. And it's a bit of a, and I'll do this. And then if you have any questions, you can jump on your microphones or put them in the live chat for Kayla. But for now, keep them in the live chat so that Kayla will have time to do her presentation of about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, and I think that's going to work. When you want to switch the slide,
Yes.
just press that. Okay.
Happy.
See, it's a little slow, but
As well, if we don't have time to get to the questions, Lon can also provide me the questions, and I can answer them, and
great.
you can answer them at your next class.
Thanks, Kayla. Yeah, just for her flexibility. Sometimes the way things are working. But I think we're good now, okay? And so for all of you, that's the YouTube view right there, okay? So you can see if you want. Okay, so Kayla's going to begin a 15 or 20-minute presentation. It's teed up. Everybody can see it. You've got the microphone. And then afterwards, we'll have some good interaction with her, pass the mic around, and we'll continue. And I'm going to make some notes while she's speaking. And I'm going to go over here. But other than that, focus is on you,
I will
okay?
give you a copy of
Yeah,
that as
great.
well.
Okay, so Kayla, please go ahead.
Okay, so, and I need to put the mic up to me, right? Like,
Yes, hold it like karaoke.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hi everybody. So this presentation, we're gonna look a bit about our look on Indigenous leadership. We're gonna look on human-centered leadership as well as two-eyed seeing. So a leadership framework that is grounded in Indigenous worldviews and human-centered values, as well as two-eyed seeing for complex systems. So why it matters. right? So Indigenous leadership offers ethical, relational, and sustainable alternatives to dominating leadership models. So it responds to complex challenges. It is also grounded in responsibility, care, and long term impact. And so, what is it? Who here has heard of it before? Raise a hands. Indigenous leadership. Okay, see
You
a
can
couple.
put a digital hand too.
Oh,
Online, if you have heard of it, just put a digital hand, okay, so we can get a sense. Yeah, go ahead.
wonderful. So it's rooted in Indigenous worldviews, values, and relationships. So leadership is relational and collective, and authority is earned through trust, service, and accountability. So, leadership as responsibility. Leaders are accountable to people, to the land, as well as culture and future generations. So, this is particularly important because in Indigenous leadership, a lot of the decisions are made based off of, well, how is this going to impact our children, as well as for future generations that come after us? And so, again, leadership is understood as stewardship, so carried on behalf of the collective. And in terms of community centered leadership, it exists within the community, so and not above it. So community voices give priority, direction, as well as decision making. So moving from that hierarchical decision making process, but more into a lateral. And so it ensures that all parties have a say. And so there is a consensus building that is prioritized over a top down authority, which we commonly see in many institutions and organizations. So we're moving away from that. Relational is accountability is to relationships rather than titles or formal roles, right? So trust is maintained and leaders are expected to live the values they promote. So, in terms of connection to the land, lands are understood as a living teacher. So, who here has heard of land based education?
Land-based education. And I'll
So,
just check.
learning from the land.
Everybody in the cosmos, can you hear Kayla and see her clearly? Just want to make sure everybody's connected to the class. Good. Keep going. We're good.
Awesome.
Yep.
So, leadership decisions consider environmental sustainability and stewardships. So, respect for land reflects the respect for past as well as for future generations. In terms of the role of elders and knowledge keepers, or knowledge carriers and knowledge holders, so elders provide guidance through lived experiences and cultural wisdom. So the title of elder, right? It is something that is earned. It is, you know, it's essentially one in the position to carry knowledge and information and to relay that information and wisdom to others, to teach them. So, knowledge keepers ensure continuity, right, of those teachings and those values, and that leadership is intergenerational, so which is grounded in lifelong learning.
Nice.
So, decolonizing leadership. So, it challenges the colonial hierarchies and power structures. So it resists domination, it resists extraction, as well as individualism. So leadership restores voice, it restores knowledge systems, as well as agency. And with leadership and identity, so it strengthens cultural identity and a sense of belonging, as well as cultural continuity. So revitalizing culture and how that is a responsibility. That is part of the responsibility of leadership. So leaders model resilience, pride, and cultural integrity.
We've talked a lot about integrity, but
Yeah.
cultural integrity is actually something maybe a little bit new. That's great. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
And Indigenous leadership in practice, right? Decision makings is made through councils, through talking circles, and sharing governance. So, again, that lateral sense. Who here has heard of teaching circles, learning circles? See a couple of hands up.
Yep. We see anything, any digital hands? Um,
Yes. Okay.
I'm going to state the obvious.
Yeah.
This is a teaching circle. Have you noticed? Okay,
It is.
go ahead. Yeah.
And it ensures all
Yeah.
voices, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So a couple of the components, right, of in when we think of indigenous methodologies, one of the other things we think of is, oral storytelling, narration, right? Those are the types of components that are heavily intertwined that are indigenous methodologies,
Yep.
and some of those are teaching circles and talking circles. Some may also use a talking stick is another method as well to ensure that each have a say or opportunity to have their piece in those circles. And so, in terms of Indigenous leadership in practice, a lot of the policies are also shaped by community priorities as well as values.
Yeah.
And so, it emphasizes dialogue, a two-way conversation piece. So, compared to Western research that may be perceived as an interview, Indigenous methodologies, right, would be more of a conversation opposed to an interview. So it is about dialogue. It's about listening, active listening as well. And it's about having that collective responsibility. So humanity at the core of leadership. So begins with humanity rather than performance. So people are valued as whole beings. So all encompassing, not just the physical aspect or not just those external aspects that we think of when we think of titles, right? But more of the person as a whole. So their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, which may be aligned with what we know as the medicine wheel teachings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I love the humanity is at the core of leadership, as opposed to profitability and power and money and all of these other things. That's a kind of other way of looking at it. But this is a perspective that is very important. Keep going, please. Yeah.
So well-being is the central to sustainable leadership. And in terms of holistic view of people, so people are understood through the four quadrants, so the spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical, and that leadership must address all dimensions to support that well-being, right? And so ignoring one dimension weakens the whole system. And so empathy as a leadership strength, deep listening is one of the core leadership skills. So empathy allows leaders to understand lived experiences, and trust and belonging emerge when people feel heard. So, relationships, building that relationship is important. The preparation is just as important, right? Just as much as conducting, much as, the results. And so, strong relationships create resilient and adaptive organizations. And so, trust enables collaboration during times of change, as well as results are sustained when relationships are prioritized. So, in terms of ethics of care, decisions consider how people will be affected, that generational, that intergenerational piece right there. So, how is this going to affect our children and generations to come after us? So, compassion and harm reduction guide action, as well as care is embedded in the practice, right? So humility, leaders acknowledge limits to their knowledge. So having that, being humble. And so leaders learning from others is essential to good leadership, and that humility creates that space for shared wisdom. So being mindful that, you know, there's always different perspectives and opportunities to learn, you know, outside of what we know, right? And so this is why it kind of leads us into two-eyed seeing. So understanding,
Two-eyed seeing.
yes,
You call it two-eyed seeing.
yes.
Two-eyed.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that down. Great.
Okay.
Two-eyed
Yes.
seeing. Like that. Yeah.
And so with collective well-being, success is measured by the well-being of the collective, and it prioritizes community health over individual achievement. So prosperity is shared rather than accumulated. And so with healing-centered leadership, it acknowledge it acknowledges the historical trauma as well as the ongoing trauma as well. So ensuring that we are approaching it delicately, ensuring that we are doing our part, right? And to not, to refrain from essentially extraction, right? To refrain from doing further harm or traumatizing people or groups or communities. And so healing is recognized as part of organizational success. And so, in terms of policies, ensuring that they are flexible as well as responsive to lived realities. So, having that lived experience as well is just as important. And so, systems are designed to be inclusive and culturally responsive, as well as how support structures reflect the needs of diverse communities. So, what leaders can learn, right? It's about balance, not about control. It's about collective, right? Not individualist. And that wisdom can come from multiple perspectives, as well as relational leadership supports long term. So, what is two eyed seeing? Who here has heard of it before?
Two-eyed seeing. Well, I'm just learning that term. Two-eyed seeing. Can I stop for you for a second and just ask the cosmos for a second? Then we'll come.
Okay.
Here. Are you okay if we just do a few questions and then come back to the presentation?
Sure.
Okay. So in the cosmos, Kensia, why don't you unmute your video and your microphone and tell us what you think it means when Kayla says leadership is more about balance than control. You there, Kensia? Let's see.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
And go ahead. Yeah. Oh, good. We can even see you too. So Kayla can look at you and we can see you. Excellent. So Kensia, what do you think when Kayla says leadership is more about balance than control?
Leadership is more about balance control.
Yeah. Kayla was just saying that leadership from an Indigenous perspective is more about balance than control. What do you think that means?
Let me see.
Do you want a little more time?
Yes.
Okay, no problem. Elizabeth, a mother.
Hi there. Hi.
And always somebody who has. Are you able to unmute your
I am.
video?
Hi.
Oh, excellent.
Hi.
Excellent. Way to go. Okay. Elizabeth, good. But what do you think that means? It's more about balance than control.
I think that it's about guidance and serving. It's a balance of where control is domination and I'm telling you what to do. It's the idea that I'm going to balance my ability to lead you and guide you with also serving the greater good for the individual or group or circle that I'm leading. So it's not just about me having control over you. It's about my ability to be both a person within leadership, but also within the person I'm affecting. I don't know if that makes sense.
Caleb, what do you think? Would you want to add to that, or do you think that's?
I think it's close. Yeah, it's about a collective, right? It's about recognizing the historical and ongoing traumas, ensuring that we are careful and we are doing our due diligence, but also it's about what's best for the collective, what's best for our children, what's best for generations after. So the decisions that we make today,
Yeah.
how are they going to impact those that come after us?
It's very long-term thinking. It's not just short-term of the moment, guided by a momentary impulse or desire, which you then shout out on social media, which tends to be how American leadership works today. Grab the cell phone, shout out on, X, and that's your decision. It's so short-term. Waleed, do you want to grab a microphone and turn it on and karaoke? Okay, great. And Waleed always has something to add to these conversations. It's great. So go ahead, make sure you turn it on. Yeah, good. Go ahead.
And also, sometimes you just gotta focus on when balancing. You gotta learn about what's more about the people rather than just following the rules of the book as leadership. Sometimes you gotta go against the book in order to serve the people, because oftentimes there is some unjusted rules or biased rules.
Yeah, unjust, human-centric. As Kayla said at the beginning, it's very human-centric, and I put that down. Yeah, excellent. Lindsay, anything you want to add? You good? Harshil? You okay? Darrell? You can think. It's okay. Please keep going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So two-eyed seeing, right? It's about seeing with one eye, so the indigenous ways of knowing, and while also seeing with the other, which is a Western way of knowing. So using both of these perspectives together to create stronger outcomes, right?
Yeah.
And so why it matters. So single perspectives limit our understanding, as well as complex challenges require multiple lenses. So balancing approaches lead to more of an ethical decision. And so bridging those worldviews together, right? So Western systems often emphasize efficiencies, metrics, speeds, and we also learned that it can also be very individualistic as well. And so indigenous systems emphasize relationships. It emphasizes meaning and responsibility. So that accountability piece.
Yeah, the accountability.
And so two-eyed seeing integrates the strengths of both world views. And so how would we utilize two-eyed seeing with decision making? So we use, quantitative data, and is balanced with lived experiences, as well as community voices, right? That complement the technical expertise, as well as how decisions are both informed and ethical. And so with ethics in two-eyed seeing, right, it guides innovation and systems change as well. So leadership decisions remain grounded in humanity. And so a lot of the long-term impacts are considered alongside the immediate needs. With systems change, so change does not require, exclusion. And leadership can be firm while also remaining compassionate. Yes. Oh, okay.
Okay, good. He's listening.
And
Good.
that people-centered change is more sustainable over time.
Can I just stop for a second? I just want to make sure. Harshil, are you with us, or are you disappearing into another world? Is that okay? Good. I just want to make sure. No problem to have your devices open, but we want to make sure we're focused on being in person without our device taking over. But it's okay if that's related. Okay, but notice how easily, how absolutely. Listen, me too. I'm watching the YouTube. I've got to keep an eye on the YouTube recording in case it crashes. But I gotta the balance. With the tech can easily take over from the human, and we want to control that. Okay, great. Kayla, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so leadership facilitates rather than dictates. any of the outcomes. So what we were previously discussing there earlier. And so Indigenous leadership in organizations, so moving away from that hierarchical sense, that top down, and moving into a more lateral sense. So across the board, right? And structures that replace a lot of those rigid hierarchies that we're all too familiar with. And so shared governance encourages collaboration. And so community informed policies guide organizational direction. And so with future focused leadership, decisions consider impacts on 7 generations. So how that impacts our children, our grandchildren, and so forth. And so leadership plans beyond immediate outcomes. And so stewardship replaces a lot of those short-term exploitations.
7 generations.
Yes.
I love that. I'll put it down. Go ahead. Yeah.
And so the implications for today's leaders lead with responsibility, to lead with care, as well as to lead with humility. And so balance systems and metrics and humanity, and as well as creating spaces for multiple ways of knowing and moving from knowledge to practice. So leadership requires action, right? Not symbolism. And Indigenous leadership is to be lived, it's to be embodied, as well as commitment is demonstrated through consistent practice. So not just a one-off or a checkbox, but it has to be ongoing, regularly, and consistently as well. And so a reflection for leaders is, how do your decisions impact people and future generations? To be mindful of when making your decision. So something to ask yourself, as well as whose voices are centered or excluded in your leadership. And so what responsibilities come within your role? So for many of us, we would say accountability. Yeah.
You are accountable to those whom you lead, but ultimately, you serve them. They don't serve you. The hierarchical model is the leader's up here and everybody serves the leader. And then gradually you get a cult of personality, and then everything's over. And we're seeing the US commit suicide with that, the cult of personality around Donald Trump. But it's going to end. But the idea of serving the people, but making decisions, that's something we should get to maybe in the conversation, is how you make decisions, in this kind of leadership. But don't worry, we can get there, okay? Yeah.
So a couple of takeaways from this presentation. So Indigenous leadership centers humanity. It centers a relationship, responsibility, accountability, as well as utilizing two-eyed seeing to help strengthen the ethical components of this leadership, as well as sustainable leadership being relational and future focused, right? So it's leadership is not about power over others, but it's a responsibility to one another as well as to our future.
Great. Thank you, Kayla. I asked her to come in and give a brief, like 20 minutes, because she has a lot to say. So thanks for condensing that down and taking the time to do that. I really wanted to make sure we have time to interact together. So you know what I'm thinking is, why don't you come sit with us in the circle, okay? A circle is an Indigenous tradition. It's your tradition. And then we can talk. Is that okay? Or would you like to stay there for a moment?
We can talk, we can.
Okay. You haven't, okay. Hold on a second. It's okay. Fair enough. Okay, you have to go? Yeah. Yeah, okay, good. So stay here, okay? We can always find a way. Hold this, and when you have to go, you can go, okay? Just, and we understand. We will continue this. This part of the class, everyone, and I'll just remove this so everybody can see what the others are seeing, okay?
Okay.
So they can have a sense. Okay. So For the cosmos, for everybody here, I'd like to begin really what is the most important part of the class, and that's when we can engage with the guests' ideas. And we're going to be having quite a few guests coming over the next weeks. So I want you to be able to think about how this is important to leadership. But most importantly, while we still have Kayla, I want to ask her a question, a difficult question. Okay? We'll put her on the spot a little bit, just to, and then we can explore this after you leave, which is when there is a difficult decision to be made, and global leadership, any kind of leadership is involved, is decisions. And the decision will not be liked by everybody. How do you deal with that? How do you make sure that everybody is brought in, but at the same time, you can meet your deadlines, you have budgets, and maybe people won't be so happy and always. How can we do that by using these techniques?
Well, I think ensuring that all voices and perspectives is important. Also ensuring that there's that collaborative piece, ensuring that, what are the strengths as well as the challenges, the perceived challenges,
Yes.
From all sides, as well as moving forward with it, but constantly I feel like, regardless of what we're making our decisions, that it's always adapting.
Yes.
It's always evolving as we continue to move forward with it.
Yep.
So again, meeting those deadlines.
Yeah.
But also later on, we can also ensure that we make changes.
You can change, you can adjust and adapt, to.
Evolved.
Well, there's one thing I need to say to Kayla, just one final thing, and then we can carry this on ourselves. We did a vote last week. We did a vote on who would be a global leader that we would like to look more closely at. And there were many, many choices in there. And in the end, what we voted on and what was chosen is a very interesting choice. And you need to know this, and all of you do too. Do you remember who we chose in the end? Everybody? Waleed?
Nayib Bukele?
Nayib Bukele,
Okay.
the president of El Salvador. Let me just say one thing. We're going to do a case study about him next week. Do you know anything a little bit about?
Enlighten me.
Very young person who has clearly aligned himself with Donald Trump. That's why I mentioned Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, Nayib Bukele is on the record as saying, I am going to be the coolest dictator. That's what he said. So it's going to be very interesting next week when we delve into this and understand more about your choice. But from an indigenous perspective, would any indigenous leader ever use that term, I'm going to be a cool dictator? Ever? No. No. So let's just understand a contrast here, everybody, because I'm throwing this back ultimately at you. I've been spending quite a bit of time over the last days learning about Nayib Bukele with good sources, and I find it very, very interesting who you voted for. So we'll let Kayla go, okay? We're going to carry on with this because I want to carry on with Bukele and this idea of leadership. But Kayla, is there any one outstanding thing that you think I should write in the notes that is like such a critical takeaway about what you've presented to us today? And I'll write it down, okay? Something that they will take with them. All of these notes, your PowerPoint is excellent, but let's try this, and I'll get a little fancy here. I'm going to try something. Can you do me a favor and go over there?
Okay.
Go over there and write it. Take the microphone with you. Watch what they're going to see, okay? Kayla's going to go over to the smart board. Yeah. Could you just write down in big, big letters? Like what's really critical here? Okay. Yeah, go ahead and write it, and we'll let her think, and then we're going to let her go, okay? So go ahead and, take the pen. I'm sorry. There on the left. Yeah, go down. Yep. And just touch it. You'll see the pen will start to write. So go touch the board.
Okay.
Yep. And when you want to erase anything, I'll show Kayla. Okay. So I'm doing a little bit of explaining. I thought I'd shown you before, but you can do this. Okay. So that, and then you can. Okay. So Kayla's final thought. Okay. Final big thought. Okay. Let's have some fun. Okay. Kayla's final big thought. And then, and just you can rewrite it and whatever, okay? So Kayla's going to work on that, all right? Kayla's final big thought, and we'll take the pressure off her and bring the camera back here. So, while she writes that, there are students who just heard me speak about Nayib Bukele who may not like what I just said. I'm not going to ask any of you, who did you vote for last week? But if you would like, right now, just to begin this part, because it's going to be a big part of next week's class, I have essentially laid down a challenge for all of you. You just got one perspective today from Kayla Murphy, and Nayib Bukele is going to be giving us, I think, another perspective. Is there anybody here in person or in the cosmos right now that would like to explain why you voted for Nayib Bukele? Now, I have to tell you something. A critical part of global leadership is courage. You may not feel comfortable, any of you, saying now in front of all of us, given what I just said, that you voted for him because you're going to be going up against being challenged by me and by others. But if you're prepared to do that, that is great courage. Excellent courage. You need that. So Waleed, go ahead, okay?
The reason why I voted for him is because everybody was in the majority, so just wanted to be in the winning part.
Sorry, say that again, Waleed. You voted for him because?
I only voted for him because everybody was voting for him anyway, so majority party, basically.
Okay, so Waleed, you just made mistake, I don't know, number 1 or 2 of leadership. You followed. Not good. However, look at the honesty. Look at the courage of this student to tell others what he just did, and we can learn from that. I believe that should be applauded. I'm always with you as your teacher. I've got your back, and I believe that whenever you speak, it matters. Even if what you say may not be what everyone else thinks or believes, or what you say may not be something you're comfortable with. But Wally just said very honestly, he went and voted with the others because he followed. Okay, hold that for a second. We need to let Kayla go. So come back, let her wrap up. There you go, Kayla. Go ahead and tell us, and then we're going to let Kayla go, okay? Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of the key phrases, keywords, right, that you may have picked up on that were used throughout the presentation were accountability, relationality, perspectives, humility, right, as well as wisdom. And we also have two-eyed seeing and human-centered, as well as intergenerational.
Yeah. And then that sort of future. Well, there's so much there. I'll leave it at that. It's great that you. Is there anything else? Otherwise, we'll let you go. Come back, and I'll bring the camera back. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So come back. Why don't you come back here, and we'll say goodbye to Kayla, and we'll carry on. Okay. So, is there anyone in the cosmos that would like to add to what Kayla has just said, and then we're going to let her go? Anything? Delane. Hi, Delane. Delane usually takes notes. Are you ready to get your 5 out of 5? Let's see if she's there. Oh, Planet DS may be unoccupied at the moment. Okay, well, listen, we'll come back to that with her later. You need to go. Well, thank you very much. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Thank Kayla. Oh, great. Delane? Yes, great. You're with us? Okay, we'll come back to Delane when Kayla goes. Thanks, Delane. Talk soon. We'll have a recording of this. You can take this. It's being done as just grab that. That's fine. And we'll talk, okay? Great. Okay. See you later. So, I'm going to put this down here. Okay, so we're going to pass the microphone around and we're going to finally do something with the in-person group. Are you prepared to come into the nucleus or at least take the microphone when we give it to you and speak? You good? Okay. Come on into the nucleus, okay? We need to start preparing for the big class next week when we're going to be doing a case study. And it's going to be a bit of a debate, I think, next week. Is there anyone else who would be prepared to come onto their microphone, get their 5 out of 5, and essentially build on what Waleed has just done, which is demonstrated real
I
courage?
can. I
Okay,
will.
who's that?
Trevor?
Trevor, lovely.
Yeah.
Trevor, excellent. Trevor, and are you able to share your camera too?
No, my camera's not working. I'm a little bit
Okay.
sick, not gonna lie.
That's okay. It's okay. As long as we have your voice. Thanks, Trevor. You've got your 5. So, Trevor, what would you like to say?
So the reason why I chose Bukele, because I've been living in like a Latin American country for like 18, 19 years, basically. And every president doesn't do anything or they're just purely corrupt. And instead of like helping the country, it just makes it even worse. So yeah, like Bukele, of course, has like some bad things, but he has actually shown improvements for his country. He's been, I think, a good president. And when he said that he wants to be a dictator, actually, the people want him as a dictator because they don't want another president that just gonna come and and ruin everything that he has worked for. So yeah, basically.
Excellent, excellent, Trevor. And stay with us for a second because what Trevor has identified that may not be apparent to all of you is that the people get what they want. Let's think about this for a second. What Trevor is saying is absolutely true. From the research I've been doing and the sources I've been checking, and I'll bring them to you next week, he has immense popular support. As a matter of fact, he even changed the constitution in El Salvador to ensure that he could continue as their president. So, Trevor, could you help us to understand more? What do the people want in this particular leader that the rest of the world should be learning from? Please go ahead.
So what the people want from him is like change. That's why everyone likes him because he's actually showing change to the country. He's changing the safety of the country. He's improving the roads, improving the economy, and that's why he's very popular there.
Yes.
So that's why they're letting him do like all of this stuff because they actually want him to do this stuff so he can stay in power. So yeah.
So he can stay in power. Well, I'd like all of you to think about this idea of power and fixing problems. Do you think that the approach that Kayla has given us today, that you've heard about, is an effective way of fixing the problems that Trevor is beginning to identify? And we'll let Trevor begin to answer this, okay? Leaders, good, Elizabeth, we'll come to Elizabeth. Leaders deal with problems all the time. That's the air they breathe. So if you're going to lead, you have to be prepared to enter an arena where everything is always going wrong, and you're going to fix it. So let's ask Trevor a little bit more about well, what exactly can we learn about what Bukele has done for the rest of the world, Trevor? What is he saying to all of us so that somebody in China, somebody in India, somebody in Canada, somebody in Nigeria, somebody in any part of the world could learn from that might be universal in leadership? You want to try and answer that, Trevor?
Yeah, I can try. So I think what he's trying to do is like it doesn't matter where you come from, like or where you're from, you can still do change.
What does it take to bring change?
Courage, for sure.
Courage. Do you think Kayla, in what she said in terms of indigenous leadership techniques, would be able to bring the kind of change that's needed in El Salvador, or is another kind of leader needed, like Bukele? What do you think, Trevor?
I think it's another kind of leader because like before Bukele, Salvador, they were like filled with like gangs and a lot of violence, and I don't think like her approach is gonna like take care of that problem.
Okay, excellent. We'll come to here for a second. I see Elizabeth. Thank you, Trevor, for helping us to understand this choice. And we're going to go into this some more next week. And when we come back next week, Trevor, maybe you can think of a really clear example of something Bukele has done that we can explore in more detail as a kind of case study that really demonstrates some kind of story. Think about that, okay, and bring that to us next week. Can you do that?
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, of course.
Excellent. Okay, Elizabeth, what would you like to add?
Well, something that really challenged me, first of all, the presentation by Kayla was very humbling, very inspiring. I think the difference I find is economics. So global leadership is about the economy of an entire country and then superpowers and all of that. So you got the states, with Donald Trump, and then you have the El Salvadorian president who's saying he wants to change the economy. But so, for instance, with Kayla and the native people, their communities right now, anyway, are very small, and their leadership influence is very small. They are not necessarily responsible. The few people that are put in charge of economics, it's about a small group of people. So I think, unfortunately, economics plays a huge role in how people lead and why they lead and how far they go for power. So that's what I think. I think economics plays a big part of it. And like you said, the whole idea is global leadership. I think the native people's voices have
Yes.
been taken away, and they can't, they don't have the reach. I do believe they do have a very effective way of leading, but they don't have the reach of the kind of leadership that they could offer to the world, unfortunately. And that's because their voices are stolen. And they don't have economic
Yes,
voice
go ahead.
either.
And it does seem to me that Nayib Bukele, from what I've learned, is very much focused on economics. Is that, Trevor, would you say that's pretty clear? Economics are important to him?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. He's even talked about bringing the Bitcoin into, he's even talked about uh, profiting by having the Americans, Donald Trump, send criminals to the jails of El Salvador. And there's a notorious jail or two in El Salvador that's very, very rough, very violent. And in order to make some money for El Salvador, the United States would pay El Salvador to take these criminals off the United States' hands. And Nayib Bukele likes this because it's money and the people are poor in El Salvador. So it gets very complex when you start bringing in money and economics. But let me make sure everybody has a chance to contribute. Waleed, did you want to add something to that? I thought I saw. Do you have a microphone there? Lindsay, go ahead. Just turn it on and let's keep going. All right? Lindsay? Yeah. Do you want to try? Hold it to your karaoke so we can hear you. And we're going to hear from Lindsay. Go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like what Kayla was saying and how like two-eyed seeing is kind of seeing it from the perspective of indigenous people and Western societies.
Yes.
Kind of like brings it all together and makes me kind of feel that I kind of lost my train of thought. It makes me feel like it kind of covers everything. I think that listening to the people that you're leading is probably the most important thing. And I think
Yep.
that what Nayib Bukele is doing is helping his people, but I just don't think that him wanting to be a dictator. He's not. Of course, nobody's perfect or anything like that, but it
a
is
cool dictator. He's another cool. I'm not sure what that totally means, but anyways, go. It could just mean that he likes a little slogan. He likes to be provocative and say catchy things, possibly.
Yeah, I think he's definitely changing his country, and yeah, with the and all the criminals that he's imprisoned and
Yes,
making his
yes.
country safer, I think is definitely a positive, but there's also a lot of concerns with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Good. Okay. Hold the microphone for a second. I see Elizabeth there still with the hand. Elizabeth, do you want to finish your point or answer that? Because I think your understanding of Indigenous and the voices of Indigenous people being lost
Yeah,
is important. Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking about what Trevor was saying too. Like I'd mentioned, I think I'd mentioned before in one of the other classes, I'm from Zimbabwe. And so I saw, up close and personal, the change in political climate because of the kind of president that we had, who started off with a certain idea for his people. And by the end of his long tenure as a leader, had destroyed not only the economy, but also the soul of the country. And yes, the people were literally trained to believe that dictatorship was the only way of leadership. Now, to the point that if you were to go and talk to the average Zimbabwean, the idea of different leadership is completely lost on them because they grew up with that. So dictatorship, I think I understand what the El Salvadorian president is trying to do, but I think there's a slippery slope of where that can lead, because year one of dictatorship sounds fun. Year 30 is not, I promise you. So it's a very, it's a very, it's a very,
we're so fortunate in these classes, provided that students will speak, that we can learn from the students. Elizabeth has just said she's had experience with this. I take it in Nigeria, Elizabeth?
No, Zimbabwe.
Oh, Zimbabwe. I'm sorry, God.
Yes, that's okay.
Oh my. Robert Mugabe.
Yes.
Interesting. But so just a second. Let's understand here. We're trying to explore in today's class, as in every class, how we can learn from examples of global leaders today. What type of leadership is good and not so good? And what we've just learned from Elizabeth is she is telling us, and we probably would like to hear more, that this student we're privileged to have from Zimbabwe is telling us, guys, if you've picked Nayib Bukele as an example of somebody who's demonstrating, that kind of strong man leadership, get in there, clean up the country, throw the criminals in jail, make lots of money for people. This is very much an American vision too, today with Donald Trump. She's saying, well, we've been through that in Zimbabwe. Be careful. Is that fair, Elizabeth, in what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. And I'm saying that I think that, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, really. People start off with good intentions of, I can do A, B, C, and D for you. But that slip of power and dictatorship is very different, and someone's personal choices. When power is delicious. Power is intoxicating. Power becomes the substance from which I build my whole identity. And if you try and take that away from me, I become very upset. So then now my ego's connected to my ability to lead, but it's really not about the people anymore.
Oh,
So,
good. Okay. Go ahead.
so I
Yeah, we
think.
had a little interference.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
So Kayla's view and like the Native people's view of leadership is very humbling, very inspiring. But again, that's not based on Western society's view of
Yes.
leadership
Yeah.
and politics. And unfortunately, most of the world is now run by Western views. So hearing a voice like the Native people saying, "Hey, there's a different way," will come with a lot of conflict because people will say, "No, that's not the way to do it." It will take a lot of courage, a lot of humility, a lot of patience, a lot of grace to be able to transition into that kind of leadership. And I think, again, because of economics, people are wanting money and comfort over like generational stability. So it's there's a lot of intricate details to it, but there is a train. There is a train that we can all get on. I just don't think the whole world wants that, unfortunately.
Trevor, what do you
Yes.
think slippery? What do you think slippery slope means?
Maybe that they start like on top and they start declining. Maybe.
Why? Who's declining? Like she's saying that the first year of a dictatorship might seem good because things are getting done and ass is being kicked. Sorry, but that's how Donald Trump would describe it. Lots of butt is being kicked and lots of people are being fired. But then 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, we start to see gradually a decline in that country. That country starts to get more isolated from the rest of the world. People start rising up and they're angry when so much force is being used and they're being killed in the streets by their own immigration officials, as happened in Minnesota. So the abuses of power start piling up. Is that what happened with Zimbabwe, Elizabeth? Abuses of power, would you say?
Abuses of power and a lot of fear. And once people are afraid, and whether it's fear of loss of control or fear of political whatever, but yeah, people got afraid and got greedy and selfish.
Yeah.
And again, started off with very good intentions, but slipped way, way down a rabbit hole that the country is still trying to dig themselves out of. So yeah, yeah, it's a lot.
Okay, good. Trevor, do you think I'm sort of belaboring a point too much and you'd like to move on, or do you understand why I'm challenging you a little bit?
No, not really. Like I totally agree with everyone's point. Like obviously he has some good things, but then he has bad things as well, you know?
Yeah.
So no,
So then,
I
Trevor,
totally agree.
how do you stop the slippery slope? A leader comes in and says he's going to fix everything, but then the country starts sliding back as opposed to going forwards. Like, how do you prevent that slippery slope from happening?
Uh Take him out of power. I don't know.
Okay, good. I just want you to be thinking of these things. Next week, we're going to have a great time looking more closely at him. Do you want to say anything, Wally, before we conclude?
I would say like try actually do what actually apply instead of just talking, basically.
Instead of just talking,
Instead of
do
just
what? Do
instead
what?
like instead of just saying that you're gonna change, how about actually apply it?
It's not so easy, Wally, when you're dealing with many different people in a complex world. It sometimes seems very attractive to have a strong man come in with a sledgehammer or a chainsaw, just like Elon Musk. Remember Elon Musk holding up the chainsaw? And was it, I don't know, Argentina? He went on the platform. First, there was the Nazi salute from Elon Musk. Then there was a chainsaw. He's holding a chainsaw. And he was hired by Donald Trump to come in and just cut everything in the American government. That looks kind of attractive, but it's complicated, Wally. There's so many different people. So how do you deal with that complexity of bringing change in a complex situation without a chainsaw?
Actually addressing the people.
Yeah, addressing the people. Addressing the people. Nice. Go ahead.
Because at the end, a global leader is also a person.
Yeah, wake up, everybody. We're all people. We're all humans. Flesh and blood. Mistakes are made. Thank you. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to have before we conclude? And I make sure you're ready for your first assignment, which is due on Thursday. Okay, it's due this Thursday. Plus, there's the discussion post for today's class. So I just want to make sure everybody's on top of things. You good, Darrell? Anything there? Do you want to say, Ed? You good? Harshil? Lindsay? Elizabeth, thank you, as always, for your contributions in the class when you're able to join us.
I am grateful to be here.
And for the others, too. So unless anybody has any questions, I will just remind you of a couple of things, and then we're going to end the class, okay? All right, so discussion post 6 on today's class is due, as always, next week. There is no discussion post 7 next week because next week's class is the last class before our break. So I will give you that 5 out of 5 next week. Everybody will receive that. There is no discussion. There is no post that needs to be made. There will be a class, of course, but you will all receive the participation marks provided that you come to the class and provided that you do what I've asked. But essentially, that will be given to you. Most importantly is this Thursday, which is tomorrow, February the 19th. There is an assignment due. You all are permitted one extension during the semester for an assignment. If you need it, email me. But that will be your only extension you will get this semester. You have 2 more assignments coming in the second part of the semester. They will be longer, and there will be the big one, the third one at the end, which is a 1,500-word essay with research and everything. So you may need the extension at the end, not now. So if that's the case, you better get your first assignment in by tomorrow night at 11:59. Darrell? Yes. The last assignment is worth 30%. Not this one. This one is worth 20%. 20%. What's that? Yeah. So you decide, what you can do and what you can't. I just need to say one thing. I make sure everybody hears me, including the asynchronous bunch, if they hear this before they hand it in. Please, pretty please, do not, in a panic, go to your machine, as in ChatGPT, to write the assignment for you. In a panic. I don't need to belabor this, but in a way I do. AI and the world you live in is amazing now. AI, which gives us these incredible applications that can allow you to go through school and cheat your way through everything in life. There are very great advantages to how to use these systems. But there are also great abuses. If you find yourself in a moment of panic defaulting to ChatGPT and you know you're going to do it and you think you're going to get away with it, your reaction should be stop, email Lon, and tell him now, even if it's 11:58 p.m. tomorrow night, and say, Lon, I need the extension. Could I have it, please? And I will give it to you. Do not get into the habit, please, of using AI to do the work for you because you were not organized. If you are doing that in school now, my God, are you going to be really hurt in the professional world? It's going to really, really hurt you in the professional world when your bosses know that it's not you that's doing the thinking, but a machine. You will not be hired. You will never lead. So now is the time. If you know that's what you're doing, that you're relying on AI to get you through things, if you're relying on AI to write because you can't write very well, you must stand up, be courageous like Waleed has, and say to me in an email, I need help. Promise me you will do that. Other than that, I look forward to your first assignments. And I look forward to helping you as always. And I'll see you next week, okay? Thank you, everybody. And I'm going to save the live chat, and I'm going to make sure the notes are saved, and we are good. Take care, everybody in the cosmos. Himanshi, Melanie, Daniel, Trevor. Good stuff, Trevor.
Bye.
Jordan. Bye-bye.
Take care, sir.
Take care. We're good. We can't be heard. I can't see it. I still see you there. Do you want to talk to me, or you just haven't left yet? Okay. I'm going to shut down now, okay? See you next week.